opening meditation. And the purpose here is to allow our minds to become quiet, allow our minds to come back home to the present moment, allowing our minds to become quiet enough to open like a flower opening to the grace of this moment now, every moment. So the goal here is to see if we can allow our minds to become quiet and open and still enough to feel the love of God for us, and still enough to hear God's voice speaking to us, telling us about ourselves, telling us about the love our Creator has for us. So I want you to just ask for a quiet mind. Ask for the quiet mind. And don't forget to breathe. Use your breath. Use your breath to focus your mind in the now. Use your breath to soften your ego defenses against the now. And tuning your awareness into the now. I want you to ask that presence that lives in the present. I want you to ask this presence, what is the meaning of this moment? What is the gift in this moment now? What is happening right now? Ask this presence that lives in the presence to show you what's happening now, or what's here now for you. This is our time to step into the heavenly garden within our minds and experience the gloriousness of our minds. What is in our minds is heaven itself. All the glories of creation, all the peace of heaven, all the joy of heaven is all there waiting. And so we say, heaven is just the decision that I must make. Heaven is just a decision I make. I make it now. just take another deep breath and bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body. Remembering that you can return to this holy relationship within, this oasis within, this heaven within at any time, in any place. All right. Very nice.
Oh,
I love meditating with you guys. So good. Hello, welcome.
thank you.
Yeah, remind me of your name again?
Jerry.
Jerry, welcome to the Miracle Center.
Thank you.
All right. So tonight, we're just picking up where we left off. We're in the original edition. You have the edited version, and I am teaching out of the first 4 chapters of the original edition, just because there's new material there that wasn't in the edited, it was left out of the edited. And so
really?
I'm teaching those first few chapters to really enjoy and get the new, that's new to us. Yeah, and so I'm going to let you, there's one to purchase up here, there's also these here that you can use.
Okay.
Does anybody else want one? Anybody wants? Yes, okay, great. There you go. And so we are in chapter 3, and it's section, let me see what it is. I don't remember, let me look in it real quick and see myself. Okay.
Chapter 3, Section 5, Perception versus
Exactly, very nice, thank you. Chapter 3, Section 5, and I think we're starting in the 3rd paragraph. I think we finished a whopping 2 paragraphs last week out of our section. We were speeding through it. Okay. All right. So, so the way I do my class is I read the section, and then I read the paragraph, and then just talk about first of all, what did it say? That's the first level that I want us to hear it. What did the words themselves say? And then I'm always looking at, okay, what does that mean? How do we apply that? What does that mean? How do we use it? Okay, that's the purpose of my class, is always first to hear it, which is a miracle in itself, and then to go, okay, what is this really saying, and how can I use it right now? How can I apply this to whatever I'm going through today, tonight, so that I can do what this book is for, which is practical application. This is not a curriculum whose purpose is the speculation of, the theoretical speculation. That's not what this curriculum, that's not what it says it's about. So, and also I'm going to invite you guys to ask questions. If you would like clarification, don't hesitate to ask. If you hear what it's saying and it sounds good, but you're not sure how you could apply it to something that you're going through right now, don't hesitate to raise your hand and go, yes, but what about such and such, okay? And don't, just know that whatever your question is, there's a good chance somebody else has that question in here. So don't feel shy, and know that you're doing somebody else and all of us a favor by asking, okay? Because the whole purpose of this curriculum, first is to hear it, which is huge, and then the next is to apply it, and then the next is to generalize it. So enlightenment relative to this course is where you are applying and generalizing these ideas to everything and everyone, okay? The Course in Miracles says there's no order of difficulty in miracles. Not one is not harder or bigger than the other. There's only one reason why some miracles seem harder than others, and that's because there are some little things, our pet sins, the Course calls them, that we choose not to apply the truth to. We won't apply it to that, and those are the problems that seem bigger or harder than the other problems, okay? So the goal here is to generalize and generalize till we have applied and generalized these ideas to everything, okay? So that's the goal here, to learn that they apply to everything and to generalize them. So it's chapter 3, section 5, and this section title is called Perception versus Knowledge. And we are going to start in the paragraph that says, questioning illusions. I think it's the third paragraph. Does everybody see it? And I don't know, you may have to go to the table of contents. Is there a table of contents in there?
Yes, it was on in chapter 3.
Okay.
Different page.
And I have an electronic version.
Oh, I found it.
Okay. So this section is called Perception versus Knowledge, okay? So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the first few paragraphs, and then we're going to go from there. So what we heard about last week in the first few paragraphs is there's this thing. It's perception. There's perception, and then there's knowledge. And it is much to our benefit. Well, he says it's essential. It's essential that we make a distinction and that we learn the distinction between perception and knowledge, okay? So perception, he says, okay, perception is what you see with your senses, right? What you see, feel, hear, okay? And he says in there, perception is interpretation, okay? That's crucial concept in this course, crucial, okay? What does that mean? That means what I'm perceiving, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what is that really? Am I hearing reality? Am I perceiving reality? Whatever I perceive through my senses? He said, no. What you are perceiving through your senses is your interpretation. Now, but do we react to what we see and hear as just our interpretation? Heck no. We respond to it like that's the way it is. I heard him say that. I saw what he did. I heard what he said. I know what that means. Thinking that we are perceiving reality. He goes, no, you don't perceive reality. You can't see reality. You can't see your reality. You can't see. All you are perceiving is your interpretation. Okay? But he says that we need to make sure we know the difference between what's our perception and what's reality, which is the same as saying knowledge. And the reason it's so crucial that we learn this distinction real early in the course, real early in the curriculum, is because if you're ever going to get to knowledge, which is true wisdom, which is awareness of what is really happening, you are going to have to recognize and learn that just because you see it doesn't mean it's true. Right? While you're still reacting to what you see and hear as if that's the way it is, then you will never get to the point where you really learn what really is happening, what's really going on. Okay? And that's really like when you yourself get to the point where, let's say you're like perceiving something, I really didn't like the way she said that to me the other day, and I know what she meant by that, I could tell what she meant, right? The point where you go, now, let's see, that's my perception, okay, perception means interpretation, okay, so maybe that was just my interpretation, maybe it didn't happen like that, maybe that's not what was said, maybe that's not what's going on. At that moment, hi precious, welcome. At that moment, that is the point when now you have what the Course calls the questioning mind. Now your mind is open enough. Now the mind that answers those kinds of questions answers you and tells you, well, let me tell you what's really going on. What's really going on is that there's really no separation happening between you two. What's really going on is you're just seeing your own past that you haven't forgiven, and that's why you're irritated, and that's why you saw that she said that. That's why you heard that she said that, right? Now, so when you go, that's my perception, that's my interpretation, maybe what I'm hearing and seeing really is just my interpretation. Maybe it's just me seeing and hearing my own past that I haven't forgiven. And when that moment happens, that moment where you question your perception, you question what your senses are telling you, At that moment, your mind is just open enough for Spirit to teach you and go, no, 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 let me tell you what's really going on. And then when your mind is open enough and to hear your teacher say, actually, let me tell you what's really going on. When you get that is the miracle. The miracle is the right answer to the question. The question is this really, am I perceiving correctly or am I just interpreting based on my past? Okay? That's the right question. And the miracle is the right answer to the right question. Okay? And so that's why it's so crucial that we learn that our perception is our interpretation, our projection. Because until we accept that, our minds will never be open enough to receive the answers and the corrections from our higher mind, which are the miracles, which correct our misthought, which then allow peace to come. Okay? So that's why that's the purpose, or one of the purposes of this section, perception versus knowledge. So we want to stop reacting to our perceptions as if I'm responding to knowledge. I know what's happening here. I know what they say. I know what they're doing. I know what they mean. I know why they're doing that. We need to stop responding to what we see and hear and feel as if it is the truth, right? And so that's why this is in the beginning of the curriculum, because you can see how it's, if you can't even question your perception, then your mind will always be closed, and you will never be able to learn.
Wow.
And you will just have a closed mind. What did you say?
I just said, wow.
Oh, right on. Right on. So first we go from the closed mind that doesn't question anything. Hey man, I see it, that's the way it is, right? And that's the closed mind, okay? And it's going to talk about the closed mind, okay? And then that's the mind that's afraid of learning, afraid of change, okay? And then we go to the next step before knowledge. We don't go straight from misperception, closed mind, to knowledge, wisdom, okay? We go then through the stage of the questioning mind, okay? That's not the ultimate for sure, but you go to the questioning mind where you're like, what does this really mean? You know, what is that? What are they really saying? What does this really mean? What is really going on here? You know, I'm willing to question the way it looks to me right now, especially if the way I'm seeing it right now is not making me happy. Now, that's a miracle, wouldn't you say? That is a total and complete miracle. Some people never get beyond that point. You know, if you ever get to the point where you are perceiving something and you are not happy about it, and you go, let's see, I'm not happy. My perception is my interpretation. I wonder if I could be wrong. Gosh, I hope I am wrong. That is the miracle. That's the miracle. That's what the Course calls right perception. Okay? And then that's when Holy Spirit can go, great, thank you. All I needed was that little tiny opening, and I'm going to tell you now what's going on. And it's going to delight you. Whenever you hear Holy Spirit or your higher mind telling you what's really going on, what's really happening, it could not do anything but fill you with joy. Whenever Spirit tells you what's really happening, here's what reality is, here's what knowledge knows in this situation, it can only make you happy. Because reality can only make you happy. What's really happening in this situation, what's really going on, can only make you happy. You're unhappy because you don't know what's going on. You're not happy because you're interpreting what's going on, and you're interpreting what's going on from your past, where you felt afraid. All right, so that is the background from last week, okay? Everybody feel caught up now? All right, okay. So then we're starting on the paragraph that says, the paragraph that starts questioning illusions, okay? And in this situation, illusions means the things you're perceiving just the things you're perceiving, that's illusions, okay? But in particular, an illusion, to be practical tonight, would be any situation right now that doesn't feel peaceful. It's frightening. It's painful, okay? So illusions is something you're interpreting, something you're seeing that is not filling you with joy. All right. So questioning illusions is the first step in undoing them. Anybody here got some illusions that you would like undone tonight? Yeah, even if you don't believe it's possible. Anybody got something going on that you would like a correction for tonight? Okay, so the first step to undoing it tonight is to question it, okay? So the first thing I want to do with this problem, in this issue, is I want to question it. And the way I'm going to question it is I'm going to go, I wonder if my perception is showing me the truth. I wonder if I'm really seeing what's really going on here, what's really happening. Or am I just seeing that because, that's just the way I think it all is? Or am I just seeing that person like that because that's the way who looked like? That's what who did in the past, right? So I'm going to question it. Am I seeing this correctly? Or is my past getting in the way? That's the first thing I'm going to do. That's the first thing we do to undo any perception that doesn't bring you peace. Okay? First thing we're going to do. We're going to go, maybe this is just my interpretation. Maybe this is just my perception. And then the miracle, or the right answer, corrects those illusions, those misinterpretations. Since perceptions change, perception's dependence on time is obvious. Perceptions are subject to transitory states, and this necessarily implies variability. In other words, how you perceive at any given time determines what you do. What determines what I do? How I'm perceiving at any given time. And what I just hear about perceptions? It's always changing. My perceptions are always changing. Have you ever noticed that? One minute I'm happy, one minute I'm sad, one minute I'm upset, the next minute I feel great, the next minute I'm scared, the next minute I'm calm. And my perceptions go like this. I'm never happy all the time. I'm also never sad all the time. Okay? Perceptions are variable. That's what we need to learn about perception. My perception, variable. So why are you going to trust something so implicitly that's so variable? Why am I going to believe my own senses so implicitly when they are changing all the time? Okay? So then it's saying, knowledge, though, on the other hand, is timeless. Why? Because certainty is not questionable. In other words, you know when you have ceased to ask questions. Okay. So now our teacher has introduced the contrast. There's perception and there's knowledge. And what do we hear about perception? They're always changing. One minute you're happy, one minute you're sad. One minute they're happy, one minute they're sad. It's always perception. How I'm seeing things is always changing according to, my mood. Are things going my way? Are things not going my way? Did I like what they said? Did I not like what they said? My perceptions are always changing according to what I want in my mood. Okay? That's perception. On the other hand, there's knowledge. And knowledge is not variable. Knowledge, what's true, what's real, what's wisdom, it's not changing for every circumstance. It's not changing just because you didn't have a good night's sleep and you're in a bad mood in the morning. Right? But here we are thinking that reality is determined by our moods. I wake up and I didn't sleep well and I'm not feeling good and I'm in a bad mood. And then I just assume that reality is exactly the way my bad mood sees it, as if I don't know already that bad moods change, right? But if I was to wake up and go, I'm not in a good mood, Okay, well, I know that's not knowledge. I know that's not reality, because reality doesn't change from moment to moment, mood to mood. So I'm not going to totally believe what my bad mood is telling me. I'm not going to fall for it totally, right? Because I know that that's just perception. That's not knowledge, okay? So knowledge doesn't change, knowledge isn't variable, and it is timeless. It's not dependent on time. It's not dependent on anything. Okay? So, knowledge is not something that's going to be dependent on my moods. Right? So, if this perception is dependent on my bad mood, then don't take it so seriously. Don't waste your mental power trying to fight against it, or feel bad about it, or feel guilty about it. I can't believe I'm in a bad mood. Right? Go ahead, that's just perception. Perception's variable. Obviously it ain't wisdom, it's not reality, so you know what? I think I'll just go enjoy the rest of my morning. Okay? So you can see why it is essential that we make that distinction between truth, reality, knowledge, and perception. Does that make sense? Okay, any questions around that? All right. I see.
Where I heard of all of that, where it said perception determines what you do.
Yes.
So therefore, actually, it's making my choices for me.
Yes. That's right.
And creating situations because they come out of my choices.
Right. Exactly.
So it's sort of making my reality and what's going on. And I probably should pay more attention to, wait a minute,
Yes.
what I choose and what I do is going to come out of these thoughts.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Now, thank you for saying that, because wouldn't it be better, wouldn't it be awesome, wouldn't it be better for you if your behavior was being motivated out of knowledge, meaning certainty of the reality that doesn't change. That doesn't change from mood to mood to mood to mood. Instead of having my behavior be determined by my changing moods, my changing variable perceptions. Wow, no wonder my behavior is so erratic sometimes. Because my behavior is coming from perception. What do I think's going on? What do I think's happening? Instead of, hey, spirit, what is happening? What is going on? What is reality here? What is the nature of the reality of this right now? What is my reality right now as you see it, Spirit? What is really happening with them? What is their reality? Now, what if my behavior came out of that kind of certainty? What would happen to your behavior? Your behavior wouldn't be erratic anymore. Your behavior would be consistent, it would be efficient, it would be productive, it'd be helpful. Wow.
It sort of proves itself and explains to me, we've all probably did things that, why did I ever do that, or why would I choose that? It just makes no sense at all.
That's right.
That's why I was listening to some very variable, crazy thoughts at the time, and it made the choice, and now I know why I did it.
Exactly.
Whereas before you can't understand, why would I do that?
Exactly. And so I just want to make a little clarification here. Certainty, he just defined certainty and knowledge as synonyms. Okay? What is knowledge? Knowledge is I have certainty. I'm not like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Oh my God, what's up with that? Right? Certainty isn't asking questions. It's certain. Knowledge is certainty. Look, I know what reality is. I know what it is. I know it's true for everyone in all space and time. And it's not open to question, and it's not open to doubt, and it doesn't change just because I did. That's knowledge, okay? So if I was to have knowledge, I would be saying, I have certainty about something that is true for everyone in all space and time, in all situations. That doesn't change just because I would rather have it that way. That is knowledge, and that is certainty. Okay? So what we're going for here is more and more and more I'm accepting the one thing that is true for everyone in all space and time. So that my behavior is being dictated by that certainty and not how I feel right now. I feel awesome right now, or I feel bad right now. Okay? So I want to accept knowledge. I want to have knowledge. You know, I can have perception. I can have the way it looks to me, the way it seems to me, my interpretation of it based on my past when I was totally unconscious. I can have that. Or I can walk through the world knowing, I know what's going on. I know what's going on. I know what's happening. I know who you are. I know who I am. I know who God is. I know the one thing that's going on right now, and it's love. No, I'm not sitting there questioning that anymore and doubting it and doubting you and doubting God and doubting myself and what's going on here, I don't know. I'm walking through the world with certainty. I'm not sitting there questioning everything. I know one thing is going on, and that's it, and that's true all the time, and that's love. Wow, and then he goes on to say that kind of certainty, that's real strength. Who is strong? Who is strong as opposed to weak? The person who's strong is the one who's certain, right? The one who's not always doubting. What does this mean? What's that about? What do you want from me? What's your motivation? What's my motivation? What's wrong with me? I'm confused. That is me choosing just to have perception, when I really could have knowledge and certainty, so that I'm not always walking around confused. Like, what does this mean? What am I doing? What are you doing? What do you want from me? I don't know. What are you doing? Right? And he says, when you know somebody, you cease to question them. You're not questioning them. What do you want? What's up with you? What's your problem? Or yourself. Right? And he says all our difficulties stem from the fact that we don't know ourselves. I don't have certainty about myself. I certainly don't have certainty about my brothers, and I don't have certainty about God. I'm always just questioning, doubting, questioning, confused, right? And he says that's where your difficulties come from. You don't know the truth about yourself. You're not certain about yourself. But if you had certainty about yourself, or if you had certainty about God, certainty about truth, you have certainty about everybody else, and you'd have certainty about yourself, and you'd be strong. I really see that right now. When I don't have certainty, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know what's going on, what does it mean? What's your problem? What's my problem? What do you want? When I'm uncertain, I feel weak. I feel confused. When I feel confused, I feel weak, right? Because what do? If I don't have certainty about what it means, I don't know what to do. And I'm scared, because now it's open to interpretation. But when I have certainty, because I know the truth, and it doesn't change. When you know the truth, you know something that's not going to change. That means it's something you can depend on. It's certain, it's solid, you can depend on it. No matter, and that makes me strong. Okay? So I feel strong. Because I have a Course in Miracles. And the Course in Miracles is something that gave me a knowledge of a truth that doesn't change. Which means I can tune into it and use it and apply it anytime, anywhere, in any situation, and get a miracle. And I know it applies to everyone, and it applies to me, and it applies to every situation. It applies to everything, no matter what's happening, where I go, who I'm with, how I feel. So that means I know that no matter what, I can apply something or tune into something that is certain, that is true, and that will give me strength. And that makes me feel strong, Course in Miracles makes me feel like, okay, man, I may be crazy, I may be in a crazy world, but I do have a truth that is certain, that is certain, it applies to everything, that I can use anytime, anywhere, and that when I use it, I'm going to get help. I'm going to get help. I'm going to get correction. I'm going to get help. And it enables me to have a certainty that I did not have before A Course in Miracles. Right? It makes me feel safe. It makes me feel safe, you know, because I know I've got something that is always true and applies to everything at all time and all people. So it makes me feel safe. Like, okay, no matter what crazy thing that I make up for myself, or no matter what crazy thing happens, at least I know I have the truth. I have something that is certain and that applies and is true for everything. And then that makes me feel strong. Because what? Certainty is strength. Certainty is strength. Okay? Certainty of what? Certainty of the one truth that was created by the one creator, that it will always be true no matter what, in all space and time. Certainty. Wow. And I can have certainty, or I can have perception, which is always subject to doubt. Right? My perception's always subject to doubt. Why? Because it's always changing. Well, what is it now? What is it now? I gotta look at it now. What is it now? What is it now? Perception's always changing. My interpretations are always changing. So I want to get to the point where I'm not depending on my interpretation. I'm not depending on myself to say what's going on. You know, when I'm in a new situation, when there seems something that I'm not sure about, I'm not going to go, let me see what I think it means. Let me sit here and make up what it means. Let me, based on my past, what do I think, what's happening here? And what should I do? Right? I don't want to be depending anymore on myself to decide what it means and what's going on. I don't want to depend on myself anymore. I want to, like, if I have a question, if I have a doubt, I want to turn to something that doesn't change from circumstance and person to person. I want to turn to something that's true all the time. Why? Because I don't want to feel weak anymore.
Your certainty you talk about would be, it seems like a lot of our fears are in the future.
Yes.
Rather it be the next 5 minutes
That's
or the next
right.
5 years.
That's right.
Where should I choose this or should I choose that? Is this where we bring into play something like that, well, this really isn't as critical as I think. The will of God cannot be affected by anything but God.
That's knowledge.
And whatever I choose will be the correct thing.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
So that we can let go of that anxiety, is that?
Exactly right. If I can turn to the one thing that I know is certain, like what you said, hey, the will of God will always be stronger than any mistake I've made, period. That's knowledge, that's certainty. And it immediately dispels the doubt and the uncertainty that he says all of our difficulties stem from. He goes, why would you choose to judge when you could just as easily know and be happy? You know, why choose to make it up and figure it out and analyze it and try to fix it and figure it out yourself when it's a lot of effort and you're gonna be wrong? Why waste all your energy when you're just gonna be wrong when you could just go, hey God, what's up? What does this mean? God. What is the nature of this reality right now? God or Spirit. You know, that one's efficient. That one's speedy. And that one, when you do that one, the outcome is bound to be good. You know, so those are your two options. You can waste your mental, spiritual, physical energy trying to figure it out, analyze it, make it up, or you can just ask.
And then we've been taught the past is the way to
Exactly.
Judge what's going to.
Exactly. And we've also been taught that maturity means that your judgment is better better and better ability to judge and analyze what's going on. And we've been taught that that's what maturity means, and that that's how we're supposed to educate ourselves. We're supposed to educate ourselves and we've made the purpose of our education how to judge better, how to analyze the situation better based on your own past, which obviously didn't make you ecstatic. Because really, really, knowledge and wisdom and maturity really means, let's see, I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure it out and make it up when I could just ask. That's real maturity. That's real wisdom. Now, in that moment where you go, I am not the creator of reality, so I really don't know what's going on here, and my feelings, my negative feelings definitely let me know I don't know what's going on here. And so I'm just going to ask, Holy Spirit, what does this mean? What is this for? What's happening right now? What does it mean? What's the nature of the reality of this situation? Holy Spirit. That prayer, that question will never, ever, ever, ever go unanswered. That is the question, that is the prayer that Holy Spirit is just like waiting, always waiting. That's the question the Holy Spirit was made to answer. The second you say that, boom, you get a corrected perception. That's the miracle. The right answer, the correct perception, that's a miracle. And the second you ask, you are answered. Now, you may not perceive that answer in the moment, especially if it doesn't seem to answer the question you asked. You get answered all the time, but very often the answers don't exactly match the question as you answered it, as you asked it, because you're really uncertain about what the question really is. But you are answered, and then when you are ready, it will be there, and you'll go, dang, I knew that. I knew that. Right? Okay, so that is why making the distinction between interpretation, perception, and knowledge, which means truth, is essential. That's what we're doing tonight.
It's like when you have that aha moment, you go, oh, that's what that meant.
Exactly. Exactly. It's you recognizing an answer you had already received, but didn't get. Didn't perceive it as the answer to the question you had asked. It is impossible that you ask the right question like that. That's the right question. It's impossible that you ask that right question and not get the right answer. Not possible, according to this. Whew. Wow. So the only question we should be asking is, what does this mean? Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, what is the correct perception of this? Spirit, what is your interpretation of this? What is your interpretation? What does it look like to you, Spirit? What does it mean to you? What do you see happening here, Spirit? Right? That's the miracle question. That's the question that you ask as you're moving beyond just being a questioning, confused mind to the mind that's like, hey man, I know what's going on. I know what's happening. And it's the same thing that's happening all the time. And it's only love. Or fear of love. Or a call for love. Right? That's all that's going on.
So is that part of our anxiety and discomfort is instead of letting reality
Yes.
in, we're trying to create reality.
Thank you. That's why he says our main problem is the authority issue. You know, he says it's essential that you accept that you didn't create yourself. It's essential. You want to get to peace, you want to get some knowledge, you want to get to a place where you have certainty and you are finally strong, then it comes from that. It comes from that. All right. Now, it comes from remembering, I didn't create myself. I'm not the author of reality. I didn't create myself. I'm not the author of reality. And I don't need to figure anything out. What a relief. Oh my God, how much energy do you think we're going to have when we stop trying to figure it out, or we stop trying to make things happen. Wow, like what would you do? What would you do with all that extra energy? Wow, I don't have to figure it out. I don't have to make myself wonderful. I don't have to make myself worthy. I don't have to make myself loving. I don't have to make myself lovable. I don't have to make myself worthy. I don't have to make myself wise. I don't have to even make myself better. I don't have to do anything. Why? Because I'm not my own author. I did not create myself. My authorship is not up to me. Now, my ego's like, sees that as personally insulting. But the other part of me is so relieved, like, oh man, that is so good. I don't have to walk into every situation and go, oh my God, what does it mean? What does it mean? What should I do? What should it mean? What should I do? What does it mean? What should I do? Oh my God, what does it mean? What should I do? Oh my God. I don't have to walk into every situation. How do I work it so that, they like me? And how do I figure it out so that I get what I want? That it lends itself to uncertainty, which equals weakness. So you walk into that situation weak, not strong, weak. And then wonder why people run away from you, right? And so once I accept, I didn't create myself. It is not up to me to sit here and tell myself what I am and what everything is. So when I'm not trying to be the author and make it up so I can sound mature and smart, and I just say, what does it mean, God? What does it mean, Holy Spirit? Tell me. Speak to me, Father, that I may hear and be healed. Tell me, what do you see? What's this for? And then experience a certainty that makes me feel strong in that situation instead of full of doubt. Wow. That's just too easy, isn't it? That's too easy.
You mentioned that we can't go from perception straight
To knowledge.
to
Yes.
So that's why we have this tool that we use to practice and apply in order for us to gain the
Certainty.
and the certainty
Exactly.
by seeing the results of what we're doing.
Exactly. And so, like this was I was saying earlier, so you don't go straight from of misperception to knowledge. Okay, the intervening phase is you have the questioning mind. Okay, and then he goes on to talk about that. You have the questioning mind, where you're questioning your own perception. And that's a miracle, isn't it? The point where you're like, I know I perceived that. It upset me. I wonder if I perceived correctly. That's a freaking miracle. And that's the interim. So you go from the non-questioning mind, okay, I'm just going to make it up the way I see it, and I'm going to believe my story. Okay, and I'm going to fight to defend it, my story. Then I go to, I wonder if that's just my story. I wonder if I keep having the same relationship because of the perceptions that I brought with me from childhood. Now I'm in a questioning mind. I'm questioning my perception. I'm going, I wonder if there is a connection between this pattern I see and me. That's a questioning mind. But it's also right-mindedness, because now your mind it's not knowledge, your mind is not certain, but at least you have correct perception, which is what? That you're just foreseeing your interpretation. That's correct perception, because that is all you're seeing. When you go, I am just seeing my interpretation, and I hope I'm wrong, good chance I am, that's right-mindedness, that's a correct perception. Right? That's correct perception.
You can ask the question, but the ego can answer it as well. And the ego's answer is control.
Yes.
I feel out of control.
Yes.
I need to control.
Yes.
Where spirit, the strategy, or is just one thing, is to surrender.
Exactly. Is to accept the one truth that is certain, because it was created by God. And the way God creates is certain. And it's What's certain is true for everyone in all space and all time. Exactly.
And that's really comforting.
So comforting.
Even though I'm not there yet.
Exactly. So comforting. That's what I was saying. The Course in Miracles helps me feel safe, because no matter how crazy I get, no matter what crazy kind of situation I get myself into, I know that there is a truth that isn't going to change from situation to situation, and person to person, relationship to relationship, that I can tune into, that will give me strength, because it's certain. It's not variable, it's not dependable. I know there's something I can turn to. It's like having the best and highest friend that you could ever have. What kind of friend? That means no matter what kind of jam I get into, I know I can call this person. And it's certain, that's a certainty. So, yeah, I'm in a crazy world, but I feel stronger somehow. I feel safer somehow, right? Now, because I know there's something I can call on when I am in a jam. That is certain, and is certain, you know. And it's more certain than even your most certain human friend, right? But I just use that analogy to, like, you know, give us like that feeling. You know, you've got that person in your world that you know, no matter when you call, no matter how you call, even if you call collect, you know, even if you know that they know you've made that mistake 100 times, and you know you're going to go back to them and go, I did it again. And you know that person's going to go, so, you innocent? What now? Just like that kind of certainty makes you feel safe having an ego, being in the ego world. And that's what certainty gives you. Okay, so now I was going to talk about the questioning mind. Okay? All right. Paragraph 33, the questioning mind. The questioning mind perceives itself in time and therefore looks for future answers. The unquestioning mind is closed. Why is the unquestioning mind closed? The unquestioning mind is closed because the unquestioning mind believes the present and the future will be the same. Okay? So the mind that's not asking any questions of its perception, that's the closed mind. And the closed mind that's not questioning its perception, believes that the future will be just like now. Okay? And this establishes an unchanged state or stasis. Okay? This unchanged state or stasis, the unquestioning mind not questioning anything, is the unquestioning mind's attempt to counteract an underlying fear that the future will be worse than the past. Okay, so I'm gonna say that to you in English now, okay? All right. You know English? All right. Sometimes English seems different from this. I'm reading this and I'm like, I know English, I know that says English, but I don't know what it just said. Okay. So it's like this. There's the questioning mind that we were talking about, questioning your perceptions. There's also the unquestioning mind, the closed mind. Okay? You ever met somebody and you know their mind's closed? They don't question anything. Most in particular, they don't question their own perception. Well, the way they see it, honey, that's the way it is. Right? They are not open to any other interpretation. That is the closed mind, the unquestioning mind. Now, the unquestioning mind stays closed the unquestioning mind stays closed because it doesn't want any change to occur. Because the unquestioning mind believes that the future will be just like the present unless it learns something. Unless it lets something else in, I think the future will be just like the right now. And I'm afraid of change, so I don't want to question anything. I don't want to mess around. I don't want to ask any questions because I don't want any change to occur. I just want the future. I just want to know the future is just going to be like now because that helps me counteract my fear that the future is going to be worse than now. Okay. Does anybody relate to the fear that your future is going to be worse than your present? Anybody relate to that? Okay. Right. Okay. So there's a part of me that's afraid that my future's going to be worse than the now. That's the part of me that resists learning. That's the part of me that resists change, which means that's the part of me that resists questioning my perceptions.
And that's the part of you that remains in like a repetition compulsion.
Exactly. It remains in stasis.
Right.
Stasis, static. And when I think of stasis and I think of static, I think of stagnant.
You might be
Stagnant.
moving, but you're moving in a serious
Exactly.
circle.
Exactly. Exactly. Like you look at a pond that doesn't have water flowing in and it doesn't have water flowing out. Yes, there's currents moving in there, but it's stagnant. You know, it's not, you can tell it's a body of water, not very healthy. Okay? So the closed mind is a static mind. It's a mind that's afraid to question because it's really afraid the future's going to be worse, and it thinks if I just don't let any change, if I just don't allow any change into my consciousness, then the future will be just like the now, and I'll be safe. I'll be safe.
So it becomes rigid and stiff and controlling.
Exactly, and exactly. And we know what happens to things that are rigid, and what happens to things that are rigid,
They die.
they're fragile, they get broken. Like a tree, if a tree was rigid, what's going to happen to that tree?
It's going to break.
For a storm, right? And so there's a part of us that believes if we just keep our mind static, rigid, that it will be safe. That's safe. It's safe because I don't know what the future's going to be, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be worse. And so, just keep it the way it is. 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 Right? And we know, we can all say, we know we've met people who are very closed-minded people. They do not ever question, I wonder why I have this pattern. I wonder why I see that in my world. I wonder why I'm like this. I wonder why, I wonder
And you
why.
just keep doing the same thing
Yeah.
over and over, just year after year.
It's year after year after year, and you know. So we've all seen. We can all identify that closed mind person. What we're being asked to look at tonight is that part of ourself. So, where in my experience do I have a pattern that seems pretty stagnant? You know, like I've seen this pattern so many times. I am so like there's a pattern. There's something. This pattern is just like a repetition compulsion. The Course calls it a repetition compulsion. I have a compulsion to keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over. And I think that just by bitching about it, it's somehow going to change.
And get different results.
And I think I'm going to get different results. The definition of insanity. I'm going to do the same thing over and over and over and bitch about it and then be shocked that it never changes. Okay? So where is it in our experience that we recognize, guess, some kind of static pattern happening okay, where is it we've got a static pattern happening, right? Okay, is it a relationship pattern? Is it a health pattern? Is it a money pattern? You know, what is it? Okay, that is the area where we need to start questioning our perception. And the way we start questioning our perception in that area is to go, okay, now I realize that this situation is purely my interpretation. That's what's going on. This is not happening to me. Nobody's doing this to me. This pattern is still there because I keep making an interpretation. I keep interpreting the same way. And I'm making up my own interpretation, and I'm making up my own, and I'm making up the same interpretation. In other words, I have this pattern in relationships because of I am interpreting relationships. Oh, I get it. It's not just men. It's my interpretation of men. Oh, no. Right? That's how you begin to question. Oh, it's not money. Oh, it's my interpretation of money. Oh, okay. Well, let me start doing a little inventory about my interpretations about money. And let me start doing a little interpretation about my interpretation of relationships, men, women, Let me start doing a little inventory about my interpretation, the money, or people, or relationships. Now there's flow. Now it's not static, because now you are questioning. And as soon as you go, oh, it's my interpretation that I keep experiencing. Okay, let me do an inventory of my interpretation to see if they're really correct. Hey, Holy Spirit, are my interpretations of money correct? Are my interpretations of relationships correct? Oh, well, what are your interpretations of relationships, Holy Spirit? Boom. Now you've asked the right question. Now you get the right answer, which is what? A miracle, which is oh, look at that. Now my perceptions about money and my perceptions of relationships are different. They really are different. How do I know they're different? Because look, I've manifested something totally different relative to relationships or money or whatever, or health. That's how I know. I questioned my perception, my interpretation. I asked for correct interpretation, loving spirit interpretation, and I got my interpretation corrected, and then I see the change. I see the change. That's what brings about change. Wow. That's so
What you
beautiful.
said earlier with our closed mind looks to our past for answers.
Yeah, it said
So
future.
therefore, anything it comes into something new, it totally doesn't know how to handle it.
Right, exactly.
And the other part says, though, you look for future answers.
Yes, exactly.
So like, I'm going down the road and there's a T,
Right,
and I don't know if I'm supposed to go right or left.
right,
And I say, my past doesn't know either because it hasn't been down this
right.
road before.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm stuck at it. Which way do I go, God?
Right,
And he says, I'll tell you when I get there.
Exactly.
When you get there.
beautiful. So let's
It
so
requires a little trust, doesn't it?
exactly. So if the closed mind gets to the T in the road that it's never been on before, what does the closed mind do? Freak out.
Yeah. Turns around, goes back.
It goes, turns around and goes back. Thank you very much. I'll go down a road I do know.
Yeah.
Even though the miracle would have been down one or the other paths, like he calls it the branching of the road. When you get to that place in the branch in the road where you can't go ahead, because there is no road that goes straight ahead. The road branches. You got to choose a way, right? But when the questioning mind or the open mind gets to that, then it doesn't freak out. Oh my God, I've never been on this road before. I don't know which way to go. Oh my God, what do I do? Ah! And run back. The questioning mind goes, what should I do, God? What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? Because I know that you want to tell me, because I have certainty about that. I have accepted certainty that you love me and you want to guide me to peace and safety. So, where should I go, God? That's what the
But I
question mind does.
assume others are like me. I find myself always, I'll envision a situation and want the answer now, so that when I get there, I know what to do.
Right, yes.
And invariably the answer says, no, you can't know that situation yet. You're making it up.
Exactly.
You got to wait till you're there, then I'll tell you what to do.
Exactly. Beautiful.
I found that's a
Beautiful.
thing of trust that,
Yes.
boy, I have difficulty with.
Absolutely, me too.
But the anxiety goes away as soon as you do trust.
Sure does. Exactly. Yeah, the closed mind wants future answers, right? Tell me what to do. Tell me where I should go. The closed mind doesn't say, are my interpretations correct? And what is the correct interpretation? What is happening here? Right? The closed mind doesn't ask for that. It just says, tell me what to do. Tell me where to go. Right? Tell me how to plan.
Yeah.
Tell me how to plan.
It's a form of planning.
Yes,
that
it's a
I'm
form of
looking for,
planning. Exactly.
Rather than being told when I need to turn.
Exactly. And that's what certainty is. Certainty is this. I may not know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going, but I have got someone with me who does and wants to tell me, and that's its ecstasy, is to tell me where to go and what to do to have peace. Now that's certainty. I may not know where I'm going, but there is someone with me who does. So I'm good. Now I may not know where I'm going, but I feel strong. Now I can enjoy. Now I can enjoy not knowing where I'm going. Now I can enjoy not knowing where the road's going to lead. Why? Because I feel strong, because I have certainty that, I don't know the way, but I'm someone who's with me who does. And is there to tell me. Wow. And this mind that is always there, who knows what to do and where to go for me to be happy, and always will tell me, this mind is, its only purpose is to guide me into happiness. And that certainty enables me to not know where I'm going, still be strong, still have a good time. That'd be great. Not know where you're going or what you're doing, but still have a great time. Still have fun. Because you're certain. You're certain of the one thing that the only one thing you need to know, you're certain of that. So now you can relax, have a good time, enjoy yourself, and see the wonders of creation that are laid out before you. Because that's what creation does. This is what creation does. It makes clear your path before you even, it clears the stones out of your path before you even reach them. It clears the obstacles out of your path before you even reach them. And here's what else the universe does. It offers you its snow and its flowers as gifts, as tokens to your holiness. That's what the universe does. That's also certainty. I know the universe was created by love. And so I know the universe I live in is loving. So I may not know where I'm going, and I may not know what I'm doing, and I may be scared, but I do know the universe is loving. And it was created and wired to help me. And so I'm going to trust that. And so I may be lost, but I've got certainty the universe is loving and good. So, I'm okay, because I know that I'm in a universe that when I need something, there it is. When I need help, there it is. Have y'all been noticing lately this beautiful phenomenon that as soon as you notice that you have a need for something, you turn around and there it is? It's been happening more and more and more and more. Like as soon as I recognize I have a need, then I literally turn around like, there it is, right? That comes from certainty. Certainty of what? Certainty that God is love, God loves you, and the universe that God created is a mirror of His love for you. And that's knowledge. That's something you can be certain about. Certainly can't be certain about the way you see it. Because you know the next day you'll be seeing it different. Go ahead.
So could you say that the questioning mind is faith-based, where the unquestioning or closed mind is cause and effect or dogmatic-based?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So the questioning mind is based in faith.
Right.
And the closed mind is based on dogma.
Right.
Right, exactly. Right, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to finish this paragraph, if I haven't already. I'm going to finish this paragraph here, and then we'll close up. That went really fast. I was like, you better look and see what time it is. And then it's like 1:45. Okay. Time does, the Course says, when you will perform a miracle, meaning when you're willing to open your mind and question your interpretations, he says, I will arrange time and space. Thank you. To adjust to it. And and it's spooky. It's downright spooky, and it's still spooky. It's spooky every time it happens still. I've heard it a million times. It still goes, ooh, ooh, wow. It's still wild.
Gives you,
What'd you say?
gives you the chills.
It does. Still.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been studying A Course in Miracles for 20 plus years, and it still goes, wow. Oh my God, it's real. I've been studying for over 20 years, and I'm still like, oh my God, it's real. It's true.
It empowers your faith.
Yeah, it empowers my faith. Exactly, so it's exciting. But you know, it's like, I could have accepted this with certainty 20 plus years ago. I'm still like, oh, it really is true. I really can depend on it. It really is true. That's how slow of a learner that I have insisted on being. I could have seen the truth once and went, I am certain that is true. That was it. But no. I decided to do my learning slowly, where instead of applying the truth to everything at once, I did the slow version where I'm like, oh, I'll apply it over here, and I'll apply it over here, oh, look, and I'll apply it over here. You know, I'm like doing a smattering of application, right? And so, and each time I apply it, I go, oh, it's really true. Oh, it's really true what it says. When I could have accepted it was true for everything 20 plus years ago. Right, but that's all right. That's okay. That's all right. Because if I am willing to question my interpretations right now and ask for love's interpretation, then the whole time thing's rearranged for me. And then the whole thing of like wasted time, wasted past is a joke. Why? Because love totally rearranged time and space. So now, my time and space, aka my past, now when I look at it, it looks as if I had had certainty all this time. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? He says when you accept the truth, what happens is it corrects retroactively as well as progressively. In other words, it corrects your past. So when I accept the truth about something and I apply it, then now when I turn to perceive my past, I see that I didn't waste my time at all. I used it great. And everything that happened was perfect and useful and helpful. Because why? Because my past has been corrected retroactively. Isn't that crazy?
It's like what Fred was saying. I mean, what we were saying about correcting. Sorry, I lost it.
That's okay. It'll come back to you.
Miracles have both beginnings and endings, and so they alter the temporal order.
Thank you.
They are always affirmations of rebirth, which seem to go back and really go forward. They undo the past and the present, and thus release the future.
Miracles, which is right thoughts, undo the past in the present and thus release the future. In other words, miracles, which means right thoughts, which means right interpretation, absolutely alters the time sequence as we know it. It undoes the past in the present. Sweet. How much would you pay for that? Wait a minute, you saying I could take a pill that would undo my past in the present and release my future? How much is it? No cost, doesn't matter. How much would you pay for something like that?
All you have.
Well, all you had. Everything you had, you would pay. Why?
All it takes is a different thought.
That's exactly right.
That's how much it costs, but we won't have that in the moment where we need it most.
Exactly.
Wow.
You know, because it reminded me of this study that was done on these college students where they had them study for a test, and then they had another group study for the same test, but drunk. So when they had both groups take the test, sober, the one who studied for it drunk failed miserably, but then when they had them both drunk, the ones who were drunk when they studied did well and the other ones didn't. So it makes me think about this, that when you're in a fearful state of mind, in an incorrect perception, you want to hold on to that. You want to block everything that has to do with changing that for the better.
That's right.
And hold on to your small way of seeing it.
Exactly.
And you can't even see it another way. That's why you do need to have that, to at least question if maybe I'm wrong.
Exactly.
Hopefully I'm wrong. You know, that's all it takes, and the Holy Spirit will take care of it.
Exactly. That is so beautiful. Thank you for saying that. I love that. You know, I don't have to know what the truth is. I don't. All I have to do is be willing to question. Tiny little willingness. I wonder if my perception is correct. You know, that's all it takes. Tiny willingness to what? Just question. Question. Are you so sure your perception and your interpretation is correct? You know, I mean, even while you're like sad, crying, depressed, are you sure you're seeing this correctly? Especially since you're not really happy. How more loving could an answer or a curriculum be? Really? How more loving could the mind that created this for us be? It couldn't be any more loving. It truly couldn't be any more loving. You don't have to do anything except go, I don't know. What is the truth? All you have to do is be like a child, innocent, the questioning mind, the child mind, the beginner mind, the questioning mind. That's so beautiful. That's why when I read the Course, I feel the love of God. I feel it because that's a loving mind. Have you ever met a mind that was more loving than that?
Is this what you guys have been talking about, the present, undoing the past and releasing the future, versus what Billy said about compulsive repetitiveness or something like that?
Yes, repetition compulsions.
Well, does that mean you don't have to worry about that? It's going to undo itself when you finally don't look to your past to change that past.
Don't look for a future answer or a past.
When it happens, that's not really the problem.
That's
it just
right.
keeps you looking at it, thinking it's the problem, or something like that.
That's exactly right.
When that happens,
Just let
when
that go.
breaks,
Yes.
It just goes. It
'Cause
doesn't like you
If you
unravel
choose
it.
differently later,
That's
it
right.
doesn't matter what you chose before at all.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
But if you keep looking at that, that's what's going to make you choose that way again.
Exactly. Meaning, that's the repetition compulsion. The Course in chapter 4 says that human living, this says this in the unedited version, it doesn't say it in the edited version, this line I'm about to say. It says that human living is wasted in repetition compulsions. Wow. He goes, in other words, we're just wasting our human life in these repetition compulsions, right? I have this compulsion to just do the same, meaning to not question it at all, right? And he says, and this repetition compulsion cycle can only be given up with an act of will. That's it, an act of will. And what's an act of will in this situation? I wonder if I'm perceiving correctly. I wonder, an act of will is me going, I'm going to question this interpretation. I'm going to question it. I'm going to look at it. That's an act of will, right? Because that don't come naturally.
But you're not looking at your past, just the one you're having right now.
That's it. All you're doing is questioning what you are interpreting right then. The Course says if you are experiencing a conflict, if you are having a problem, it is never, the source of that problem is never, ever in the past or the future. Ever. The source of that problem is never in the past. The source of that problem is always what you are interpreting right now, what you are telling yourself right now, and choosing to believe. I'm going to make it up the da-da-da-da, and I'm going to believe it. And I will fight against anybody who disagrees. I may even kill them and say it's justified, because that's what God does. You know how the God of the Bible, He kills people who disagree with Him, right? So I certainly am justified in attacking people who don't agree with my interpretation, my perception. Wow.
So doing that, I don't look to my past or my future. I ask somebody else. That's what this is getting at.
That's right.
You ask, what does this mean, God? Is not asking yourself, but asking for a different answer.
Exactly.
But aren't you still seeing it based on your past interpretation of it? Or
Not when you get the interpretation from the higher mind.
okay.
Right. Because higher mind will give you an answer, but it won't be based on your past.
But
Right.
it's the
But it's
thought you're having at the time that brings your past back.
It's right.
Right.
Thank you.
It's
It's
like,
That's
modern, modern psychology is focused on changing the behavior where this is, about changing the thought behind the behavior by asking for its correction.
Right, exactly.
That's where,
Exactly. And you want to talk about saving time and receiving the correction in that problem is don't ask for future answers, don't ask for what to do, don't ask for anything relative to the past. Don't try to figure out where it came from your past. Don't try to figure out the future answer. Don't try to figure out a plan to defend against it. If you just spend your energy, your mental energy, just asking, what are the interpretations I'm making right now that are causing this problem? And ask for the correction, whatever they are. You spend your time and energy doing that, you are going to get the answer right then, and you're not going to spend years wasting your time and your human, you're not going to waste your human living.
That's like just being in the present and not worrying about what's going to happen in the future or what happened in the past.
Exactly, because that's not the problem. The problem is the interpretation you're making right now that you haven't questioned. And so when you do that as your problem-solving approach, you stop wasting your human living. You stop wasting your human life. Yeah, you're not a human, but since you think you are, why waste it? Yeah, time's not real, but why waste it going nowhere? Since you do believe in it. Okay? So that enables us to save our energy and stop wasting our human life in problem solving that doesn't solve anything. And it makes more problems, and it makes life more complex, which means you need more energy, which is
So
more
what it
draining.
really does is bring about change.
Instant.
It's
change.
like you're trying to run ahead of God, and
Yes.
Show him
try
the way.
to
Yes, and show God the way.
try to fix everything yourself, and in the end, it ends up getting fixed anyway. Even though you tried to fix it, it got fixed another way.
Exactly. And my ego is so arrogant and unquestioning that there's a part of me that doesn't want God's answer because it wants my answer. It's like, I don't care if that's a better answer. I want my answer.
I'd rather be right than happy.
I'd rather be right than happy. I would rather waste my human life. I would rather feel wasted, meaning always tired, always exhausted, always depleted. I never have enough. I'm always depleted, always tired, always behind. So that I could be right. Just so I could be right about my interpretation, which is totally wrong. Obviously. Wow, that is the height of the ego arrogance. The ego is so arrogant, it is willing to die just to be right. And you see it, and it's like, and it's not like that, but it's also willing to kill
Oh yeah.
to be right. Hence all the holy wars.
it's its purpose.
That's its purpose, right? To be right and to murder whoever does not agree with it. Wow, we have that belief system in us. But I don't want to waste my human life anymore, not one more second, on that kind of insanity, that kind of madness. That I'm willing to kill myself, sacrifice myself, kill others who don't agree with me, just so I can say, I'm right, I'm righteous, I'm in the right, I'm on the right side of God. Wow, that kind of madness is why our world is so sick and so mean. Wow, because that belief predominates. Right? And so, but we can't look at the world and go, oh, the world is so insane. The world is so mean and cruel. Bad world. Bad world. Bad world. Bad world. I'm going to run away from you, world, and I'm going to go live on a mountaintop. Yeah, I'll show you. We can't do that. That's not the answer. We have to look within and see the part of us that doesn't want to question, that wants to be right, and is willing to sacrifice others and itself just so it can be right, just so it can defend its way of seeing. Anytime I'm not asking, is this interpretation correct? I'm saying I am willing to die to defend the way I'm seeing it, and I'm willing to sacrifice you too. That's what I'm saying when I am not willing to question my interpretations, especially when they're not happy. Wow. So I can't say, bad world, I'm going to run away from you. I have to look within my own self and see that belief system, that belief in my own self, and I have to ask for the correct interpretation and ask for correction.
Take responsibility.
I have to take responsibility for the world that is willing to kill just to say, see, I'm right.
Responsibility for sight. I'm responsible for what I see. I choose the feelings I experience. Decide upon the goal I would achieve, and everything that seems to happen to me, I ask for and receive as I ask.
Exactly. And then it goes on to say, and if you will say that, then he says, then you will receive all vision, all release, all happiness will all be given you. Just for the willingness to say that. Just for the willingness to say, I'm responsible for what I'm seeing. Wow. That is powerful. I just say that, not even with full belief. And then all that is given me, vision, freedom, release, abundance, joy. Wow. But no, I would rather be right than all that. But tonight, I am taking my stand that I refuse to waste my human life anymore on those stupid repetition compulsions. Like, I'm going to do it again, I'm going to do it my way this time. Yeah, that'll do it. Well, that's what you've been doing for eons. You know, you've tried that way. You tried that way. Oh, I'm going to figure this out myself. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it myself. That is a repetition compulsion. All right, so now we're going to do our financial expressions of appreciation. Thank you for your financial expressions of appreciation. Thank you. Don't forget, all my classes are on YouTube. You can watch them for free. And I've also started a new series of videos that's called Lullaby Course. And all I'm doing is just reading the course, and I'm reading it I'm reading it the way I hear it. You know, I hear it like you know, the great cosmic mother of compassion, like, here's the truth, honey, here's some truth, right? Feeding me, nurturing me, healing me, soothing me, right? So anyway, so that is on YouTube. It's called the Lullaby Course Series. I'm just reading, okay? And also you can learn more about my holistic counseling practice, Miracle Psychotherapeutics, or you can schedule a Miracle Psychotherapeutic session with me and just go to annakujawa.com and learn about my holistic counseling practice. Okay? In my Miracle Psychotherapeutic sessions, for people who want it, I take what the course is telling us and then we apply it specifically, right? Right now, I can't help you apply these ideas specifically to the details of your particular issue. I have to do it generally, right? But with a Miracle Psychotherapeutic session, we look at the specifics of your issue and your repetition compulsion, and we apply the course specifically to it to produce a transformation. Okay? So you can find out more about that at annakujawa.com. All right, so now we're going to do our integration meditation. And the purpose of this is just to allow our minds to rest for a moment and to just let what we've heard kind of seep in. and to do a little bit of personal application. And it is 9:05. If you do need to leave, you are innocent. Okay? All right. All right. So I want you to just close your eyes and take a breath. The first thing I want you to do is just tune in to how you feel right now, having heard these ideas and having heard them together with others. How does it feel in your mind and in your body to hear these interpretations, these right thoughts? And just feel that. Listen, when you feel the feeling, when you merge the feeling with the idea, you actually rewire your neurological network. How does it feel to hear these ideas? How does it feel to hear that there's a way of walking through the world and being within yourself where you have certainty, you have knowledge of the truth that's always the same everywhere in all space and time, that you can call upon to give you peace? How does that feel? Now I just want you to bring to your awareness a situation where you were not experiencing peace, a situation or a relationship where there's fear or anxiety or doubt or lack or hurt or pain. And I want you to look at it for a moment. I want you to ask yourself if this problem or this feeling seems familiar. Is this issue familiar? Is this the first time that you have experienced that feeling, or that experience? And then I want you to imagine yourself shifting into questioning mind, which is open mind. And I want you to tell yourself first the truth about this situation. I want you to tell yourself, what I am seeing and what I am experiencing in this situation is my interpretation of something. I am experiencing my interpretation of fill in the blank. I am experiencing the interpretation, my interpretation of people, relationships, the body, money, this job. You fill in that blank. What I'm seeing and experiencing, what I'm perceiving, is my interpretation of this. And then I want you to tune into how that interpretation feels. Does it feel good? Is it bringing you peace? And if it's not, I want you to tell yourself in this situation, I do not have peace, and so I must be wrong. Because reality, the reality of this could bring me only joy. And so I hope I am wrong. I hope I'm wrong about this. And I hope I'm wrong because I want to be happy. I want to be happy in relation to fill in the blank. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong about relationships. I hope I'm wrong about money. I hope I'm wrong about my body. I hope I'm wrong about time. I hope I'm wrong about my family. I hope I'm wrong about the world. And then say to yourself, I want another way of looking at this. Love, how does this look to you? What is your interpretation of this situation? Spirit of truth, show me your interpretation of this. And then I want you to sit back and open and listen and watch for love's interpretation, love's perception of this situation. Love, how does this look to your eyes? Beautiful. And I want you to thank the Spirit of Truth. Holy Spirit, the great corrector of misperception, the great corrector of wrong perception. I want you to thank this part of yourself that's always available, always ready, always able to give you another way of looking at it when you want it, when you're willing to question your perception. So, thank you, Holy Spirit. And Holy Spirit, thank you for giving me a correct perception and the peace that goes with that. And Holy Spirit, I ask you to help me be more often willing to question and ask for your perception. And Holy Spirit, while I'm at it, let me just acknowledge that I'm wrong about everything. I am wrong about everything. I know I am, because I don't have to peace in my awareness all the time. Holy Spirit, I'm just going to acknowledge right here in this holy instant that I don't know what anything means. I am wrong. I'm wrong about myself. I'm wrong about this person. I'm wrong about this situation. I'm wrong about the world. I'm wrong about God. I'm wrong about the truth. And I ask for your certainty, and I ask for your truth. I ask for your correct perception of everything. What can I lose by asking? And then I just want you to sit and be with that for a moment. And for just one moment more, I want you to see if for just a moment you can give yourself a little glimpse of a state of mind where you have certainty once and for all. No more doubt about yourself. No more doubt about others. No more doubt about God. A state of mind where you've accepted that there's one truth for everyone in all space and time, and it will never change. and then will always bring you peace and keep you safe. What would that feel like to have that kind of certainty? What would it feel like to feel that safe and that strong? Breathe in that feeling of safety and strength, certainty. I ask for certainty. Beautiful. And then just take another breath and bring your awareness back to the room and back to your body. All right. All right, how'd that feel?
Good, thank you.
Yummy, yummy. I really appreciate you guys being here because you helped me to have this experience. I did not get to have this by myself, right?
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. See you next time I see you. Thank you.